Good evening, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to the Crone Zone Conversations with the Ancients. My name's Priscilla, and this is my buddy Heather, and we are the Crones. How are you tonight, Heather?
I'm good. I'm good.
Are
Yeah.
you? Did you get much snow?
Between 4 and 6 inches.
I think we got right about 4 inches, and I put boots on Sassy for the first time. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Well,
They pick their feet up really funny.
I think Xena only does that for the first 4 steps, and after that, there's like the
No, well, this
video
was
I sent
the
you. She
first
just
time
goes.
ever.
You don't care.
This was the first time Sassy'd ever had a mom, period. So she
Yeah.
was like, "What are these?"
Well, the
But
sidewalks
then I
are
put her
clear.
jacket on, and she went out and rolled in the snow, and I swear she was making snow angels. It was so cute. The best time. I haven't seen her act like a puppy like that in a long time.
Well, it wasn't hurting her feet. You had them protected.
Yeah, her
Yeah, it
feet.
makes a big difference.
Tootsies were protected for sure. Hey, White Dragon. Hey, Oil
Hey,
Painter. Akila and Lauren. We're all looking forward to this, aren't we? Amanda Carroll, nice to see you.
it was
Yeah.
surprising. Yeah, the sidewalks are already pretty well cleared. I'll have to put boots on her tomorrow because the salt.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, she'll be fine.
Well, the sidewalk to my right is clear. I noticed that. I just walked her a couple of minutes ago. I haven't been to the left since this morning, and it wasn't clear.
Yeah.
I think that's my landlord's job, and they're not even in town. So I don't know where their
Well,
snow
they
is.
cleared them here, and then they spread salt, which is good for humans, but not good for
Not so good
animals.
for puppy feet, is it?
So she'll
Oh,
have her boots on tomorrow too, so protect her feet.
good,
So
good. White Dragon wants to know if you got those epics.
yes, I did. I even printed them off, and I'm going to put them single so that I can send them to Priscilla so she can make up slides for us. You'll love them.
Okay, cool. I have no idea what you're talking about, but that sounds wonderful.
He did some pictures of Mother Gaia, and they're really gorgeous.
Oh, cool.
So
Can't wait to see them.
yeah.
Hey, Diane G, how are you? We got some snow here in Colorado. I think we got about 4 inches, and it got really chilly. But they take care of the roads so fast here. You know, in Texas, it takes forever for them to get the roads clear, but in Colorado, man, they are on it.
It was really funny this morning when I went out. Of course, it had been snowing since 11, so there were about 4 inches, 2.5 inches on the ground. But by the time that was at 6:30, and I take Xena out for her long walk at 9, they were already shoveling the snow, even though it was still snowing. They were taking the first 4 inches off so they wouldn't have to do so much.
I love it. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I was.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we can get started.
Mhm.
I didn't find out a lot about the pyramids, you guys, and what's underneath them. I mean, we all pretty much know the basic story of what's in them, on them, above them.
Do you want
Oh,
the cards?
sorry, time for cards first.
Yeah, it is Tuesday, so I do them.
Yes, ma'am.
And first card was us, integrity. That's how we try to work. But sometimes what gets in the way is our new gifts. We don't realize what's happening, and the integrity kind of gets a little bit sloppy compared when we start getting the new gifts. Of course, our souls are being fearless, and a lot of stuff going on for our humans is we are immune to. Those humans who are not following and trying to improve and stuff, they don't have that immunity. It's just hitting them. But anyway, so in order for us to keep those gifts not getting in the way of the integrity, we need to recognize that those gifts are coming in. And in some cases, especially with all the sun flares and everything, we're getting gifts we didn't know we were going to get. And we're getting them quickly. So we need to recognize them. And if we recognize that we're getting them and what they are, then we can kind of rejuvenate ourselves and we're back to being our integral people, our integral souls again.
Right.
So, when something happens, we need to recognize it, and then we can go back to our normal integrity more easily.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All righty then. Well, I'll give you what little I information I have
And I'll
on what's
yeah.
underneath the pyramids. I have some little drawings. This actually shows you the Giza Plateau. And Heather, did you just look under the Great Pyramid or around it, or
I kind of looked all over that area.
okay, that's the
And
Giza
you'll understand
Plateau.
why when I start talking about it.
Right. Okay. So you see at the top the large pyramid of Khufu, and then Khafre is the second largest, and then Menkaure is the smaller of the three. And then you have those other three little pyramids of the queens.
Yeah.
So this is just in general. If you want to take a screenshot of it so you can blow it up, to me, it really explains where everything's situated
Mm-hmm.
a lot better than what I knew. Like where the Sphinx is down in the middle right. Okay, so my big information is that there is a cave complex underneath this entire area. The entire area. Let me see if it's on slide 3. Okay, we'll leave it for that for the moment. And supposedly, British Consul General in 1817 stumbled upon the catacombs with Italian explorer Giovanni Caviglia. And they researched and left field notes, which you can find online. And then this really goes fast. 2009, Andrew Collins, the British explorer, wrote, he followed the information that came out of Henry Salt and Caviglia's research, their diaries about the events. And then he searched and found what he thinks was their opening and wrote a book about it. And we've seen Andrew Collins on Gaia, on Gaia. I'm sure I've seen several of his shows, not even maybe on the Unexplained or one of those types of things. But he wrote Beneath the Pyramids, which is his book on what he found down in the catacombs. They found water. They found a big huge granite. They can't figure out how they got them tombs down there. A couple of them were half open, but the water level raises and lowers and raises and lowers. And the Nile is like 5 miles away, and they don't really know where this water's coming from, but it's also crystal clear. It's got all this sediment in it, but it's crystal clear, and they found some wooden stuff in the water down there. And he shows some photos and stuff like that. Then, see where it says the Western Cemetery up here to the left of the Pyramid of Khufu?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they do. The pyramids mirror the same placement as Orion's belt in the sky. Oh, and there was some information I wanted to share about the pyramid, what I thought was really amazing. It is the Great Pyramid is the geodesic center of the Earth, the center of all landmass, perfectly aligned with magnetic true north to an accuracy of 99.94, and is still the most accurately aligned structure on the planet. Isn't that amazing? As old as it is, and God knows how old it is. Maybe you'll be able to tell us. So the most recent discoveries is this area in red, and you can see the pyramid is to the right. So this is the western, I believe it's the western side of the pyramid. And the researchers from Higashi Nippon University and Tohoku University in Japan, with the National Research and Institute of Astronomy and Physics in Egypt, used ground penetrating radar and found a new L-shaped structure in the Western Cemetery. And apparently there's some L-shaped structures elsewhere on the plateau that they have yet to explore. But they're using, all the ground type radar and all of that for this guy, to find this guy. And this is the area looking towards the larger pyramid. And guess what? That is it.
And I gotta tell you,
There's rumors that there's underground springs, there's underground lakes, there's underground rivers because of the water. Because it was never a tomb, it was always an energy source that the water they needed underneath, like in the Aztec pyramids, the Mayan pyramids. I guess apparently there's water underneath those as well. So that's the rumor, and that's all I got.
well, I've got to tell you that is all that man has found.
Yeah, I kind of thought
Because
that.
everything that I was talking about and his name, he's an Anunnaki from that time period of when the pyramids were being built and when all this other stuff.
What's his name?
He picked an easy name for me, Ben. They are very nice and give me names that are easy to say.
Ben Anunnaki.
Yeah, Ben. Well, that was so I would know it because I would never be able to say his name.
Right.
Anyway, let alone spell it so I know what it was, Anyway, you've got to remember that when all these pyramids were built, they were level with Earth. And that's the reason why when they go down in the Earth, because the Earth has come up, there's been all sorts of stuff like with the Sphinx, it gets covered with sand. It didn't used to be that way. Them finding a new building below, that's not unusual. And if you look at Rome and Greece and all these other really old places, it's city on top of city on top of city,
Yeah.
just because the land has changed. And so what is there, it's all there, but it's interdimensional. And I didn't actually think in terms of interdimensional until I was talking to White Dragon today. And I'm going, that's everything they were talking about. Everything they're talking about is interdimensional. I knew it was in a different dimension, but I hadn't put that word to it. So anyway, they were, and it is interdimensional. And let me go through what they were, what I was told first. I asked about a map. Can you show me? No. I said, okay, fine.
That's a good idea, though. Show me a map.
No. No. Although they do use crystals for directions and frequencies. And you follow the frequency, which is actually produced by the crystals that along the way. So if you need to make a turn, then you have to figure out which crystal is, what direction you're supposed to go.
Turn where to where?
If you happen to be along a passage and you've got a cross, or you could go straight, a crossroads.
So you're talking about an interdimensional crossroad.
Right. How would you know which direction to go? Of course, that's only for some of it, because for others of it, if you are in an ethereal state, you just go through it,
Sure.
No passages,
Right.
But even
in physicality, you have to vibrate at a certain frequency to know where to go.
You have to be so far. Now, remember also, these were built for shortcuts to the different pyramids and also for secrecy. Others didn't know when work was being done someplace else because they thought it was all on this pyramid, but there might be work being done in another one because somebody had used the passageways to it. They didn't want everybody to.
These passageways aren't in 3D. These passageways are interdimensional for interdimensional beings.
And they look like they could just be a hole. Because remember, the Anunnaki were there, and
I
they
was an
were
Anunnaki there. If you'll remember, one of my first past lives was watching the gold
yes.
capstone being put on. I wanna know if Ben knew me.
I don't know, but you had the capability of being ethereal instead,
Right.
just like we all will have. We and when in the fifth dimension, we can be solid or we can be ethereal.
Mhm.
And the higher up we go, the more likely we're going to stay with the ethereal. But nobody knew they were there. And if there was just a little hole, who knew how that hole went?
Wow.
Because humans couldn't get in it. But if you went into the ethereal state, you go through it. And
Wow.
that was just the answer. You could do whatever you wanted there. So,
So, can I ask a question? Who who actually built the pyramids? Was it humans or the Anunnaki? Or the human slaves?
I was just about to say that. Good timing. Okay. They're not dug by humans, but rather by robots. Um, some of you know what I'm talking about. They're not human, and they're not machine. They have an intelligence, but they were dug by alien machines and robots,
Right.
whatever, because they didn't need air. You can't get air. And of course, they don't need air because they're interdimensional. Only humans have to have air.
Mhm.
So, and it was like
So, are you saying, like, drones that are like that were they
more than
humanoid looking, or were they more like a robotic drony sort of thing? Like or like the Greys?
AI, artificial intelligent type
Yeah,
things. But they were built, but they
okay.
weren't human. Um, and the way they removed the rock, I'm going, you're kidding me. Okay. I'll read what I wrote. It says, rock removed was like uh, taking it out, cutting it in molecular form and moving it out, kind of like beam me up, Scotty. So if there was something that they needed to move, all of a sudden it was on a pile, some out there. Somewhere it automatically went to that pile. It never had to be moved out through, a human have to pull all the rock out and help pull it out. No, they just beam me up, Scotty. It goes to the pile they want it to be. It automatically went.
Oh, that makes sense with the
Mhm.
tractor beam on the capstone.
Right. And there's no one knew the origin as far as air ducts go. They only had them only as far as maybe to the tunnels, and their tunnels are all over. There's so much more. Let me tell you, I'll tell you more. But once you're ethereal, you don't need air.
Exactly.
Exactly. Um, so beings went from a form to ethereal, so they didn't need to be overly large. There was directions to go, and it was done through frequency. Um, I'm even being
Or as
told
Gene would say, frequency and vibration.
exactly, and they followed the vibration through the rock or through the passageway, because in the multidimensional things, not all the dimensions had passages. A lot of the dimensions simply said, here's the frequency, follow the frequency to it.
No, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's like when my brother died, he said all he had to do, my mom was humming, all he had to do is follow her humming, and he was right to her.
Wow.
So that is a frequency.
Mhm.
So I don't imagine it'd be too hard. Um,
This is
and then
crazy.
if they needed to go back into form so they could work, they could do that when they got where they wanted to be. So again, they didn't need oxygen, so it didn't matter. Also, mankind could not stay underneath the earth like that without oxygen.
Right.
They were not made for mankind. Um, and we would probably want lights. You're following frequency, you don't have to have lights. So, well, although they did use crystals to send out the frequencies.
One of the things I learned about the pyramids is there's different types of crystalline formations of the rocks, of the type of the limestone. Some of it has a higher frequency than others. I was
Exactly.
watching the Y Files, if anybody is interested, the HY Files on YouTube. They have interesting videos on
And
every subject.
those places that you were talking about, the catacombs, those were tombs. Those were not part of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, obviously.
Those were human things. Um, and they said, and although the pyramids were closed on the top, that did not stop them from continuing to work or do maintenance on them. Remember, they did have tombs in them, but they were actually communication and energy.
Power generators.
Yeah. So they, just to make sure everything was running right, even though it was closed from the top, they could get in from underneath because they could follow those frequencies too. That's why I said nobody knew they were necessarily working there.
Wow.
He went
So
into
the entities, the Anunnaki that worked in the pyramids, did they work alongside humans at all, or were humans aware of what, or is this even before humans?
a
As
little
a
bit of both,
human, Homo sapien sapien is what I mean.
but remember that the humans were subservient, and it was like, oh, here comes somebody, hide your face, don't look at them. So they could go or do anything they wanted to, because they were so high up.
So these were the humans they created.
That they had regular humans working on the pyramids, but they did not do anything below.
No,
That
my
was strictly
question
them.
is this at the time that the Anunnaki created humans with the reptilians and the Greys, or whoever the different species were that created the humans? Was this the beginning of our creation when the pyramids were built, or were humans already created when the pyramids were built? Homo sapien sapien.
Okay, the Homo sapiens sapien came later because some of these tunnels and the portals that are in there, and I'll talk about more of that, and the big areas, they have been used for a long time, even through creating humans. But the pyramids themselves were not built until after Homo sapiens sapiens were created, because they used the humans to help build it.
Is that early Homo sapien sapien?
Yeah.
Okay.
And even later, because there's even on record of the Hebrews being used to help build the pyramids.
I think that's just a fantasy.
Well, that's through the Bible. And who knows?
And
who knows if that's fantasy
I was
or
gonna
not?
say, I'm not sure that's.
Okay.
I think that was that Charlton Heston movie.
But there were a lot of portals in places underneath it in the different dimensions that were there. In fact, they showed me one area that it was so big, the bay was so big and filled with so many different spaceships that I couldn't see the whole thing. It was just like huge, dark, and it was more than one dimensional. There were different dimensions in that big area, and it was loaded. The ceilings had portals all over the place from different places, different dimensions. I mean, it was just all over, and it's still used today.
Wow.
Which is the reason it was so full of all these different ships. And I'm going, oh my goodness, where did, wow,
So the ships that you saw, were they in those hundreds of thousands of years ago, or however many thousands of years ago, or was that
present
now?
day. Present day, different dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, I mean, it was like, Shutter, you're in this dimension. Shutter, you're in this dimension. You're in this dimension. You could just
And
see
what
all these
dimensions? Do you know what the dimensions were by any?
No, huge. because the ships are huge, and it had so many
No,
ships
I
in it.
didn't mean the size of the portals. I mean, what dimensions were represented there? Like sixth dimension, eighth dimension? Are you talking
Fourth,
about that?
4 through 7.
4 through 7.
That's what I just got. 4 through 7.
Wow.
Um, let's see.
Hmm.
And remember, you need to remember, even though they were tombs, the pyramids were actually used for energy and communication.
They
And
were
they
never tombs,
were
Heather. There
all,
was never there were never any mummies ever
no,
found
no, but
in
the
the
catacombs are there.
pyramids. Outside of there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
The pyramids
That was
were,
the kings and queens. That Western Cemetery was the one where the kings and queens were found, but
right.
nobody was ever found in the pyramids.
No, but I did see, I have seen pictures of tombs in there, as in big sarcophaguses, but
Yes,
they're, I
but there
think
were never mummies in there. They
yeah,
never found any mummies in it.
no, just the sarcophagus.
And they don't know if that was for bodies or something else. They don't know what was.
They stored things in there like crystals.
You'll have to ask.
Because I've got to tell you that when it was, it's in here later, so I'll find it. But when they stopped using the pyramids for communication and energy, when they stopped doing that, they dismantled everything.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those things are stored in locked interdimensional places.
Wow.
So when we are ready to start using them as communication and energy places again, the stuff's there.
So was that the same? Would you find them that pyramids of Giza communicating with the Mayan pyramids or the Bosnian pyramids?
Yes.
They all communicated together worldwide, didn't they?
Yes.
Was this at the same time as Atlantis and Lemuria?
Part of it was.
Okay.
Yes. And I really think a lot of the pyramids that were being built was in an effort to replace some of what they lost in those two. They were trying to get things built back up, and it just didn't work. We were not in the right position to do that. We're not ready.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say there's also storage areas among the roots, but not man-made or man-utilized. These are strictly for storing the things that make the pyramids work. And they're alien. And I said they're large hangars are there. And crystals are also stored. Yeah, but again, it's to help with the communication.
Do they have some of those Atlantean crystals there?
No, that's the first thing I got was no.
What about the Lemurian crystals?
No, when they moved all of those, they moved most of them to the United States and South America.
Okay.
And they're hidden enough now. Man will never find them because man can't go between dimensions, and they are
dense, so to speak.
Yeah. Double entendre, but true.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they were there, because it's interdimensional, they would not be aware that they were actually there, and they're not going to hurt it. Even if they were in the same.
You'd have to be at the same vibration, the same frequency as those places,
exactly.
Of course.
And of course, there are portals in some of the larger areas, but again, interdimensional, you can't tell. And they are still used. Everything down there is still used. The portals are still used, but we just don't know about it.
Do you know what races of beings use those portals, and are they dark or light?
Most of them are light. The dark ones don't come because there's just too much.
They're the wrong frequency.
There's too much love.
Oh, darn.
For the darks to be there.
Okay.
They might want to be, but there's too many protections, and the portals are not something they go to because, like I said, there's too much
The
love
light.
involved in this, so that they don't come. These are ways that all the races come down. There's Anunnaki, there's blues, there's whites, I mean grays, there's Palladians, there's
You name it, they got them.
yeah, they can come in.
Arcturians and Andromedans and
Our like our Archon, he could go there if you want.
right.
Yeah, I can't remember what you call him, except he's cool. Anyway, like I said, a lot of these things that are stored there would enable the pyramids to run again.
Wow. Can you imagine that?
But we're not ready for
They
that.
wouldn't be. How could they possibly? They're in such a state of ruin. When they were first built, they glistened white with all the crystalline energy coming off of them, and that white limestone, and that gold capstone. They must have been something to behold. That crystalline white.
There's a lot of work to be done before they will even think about going into the interdimensional areas and pulling stuff out to do it. That's why I said it's not in our lifetime that's going to happen.
Oh, hell no. But it'd be fun to watch with popcorn on the other side.
Yeah. And they said it's like a road system underneath. You need to know where you're going. And you're guided by vibrations, not maps. And they couldn't explain to me how it works other than you follow the vibration, and the vibration is produced by crystals. And so I kept imagining, okay, so does this crystal light up when you're supposed to make a left? How do you know?
Turn left here.
But I guess it doesn't matter. If you're that sensitive to vibrations, you would know anyway.
Oh, heck yeah, you would.
Thank you. They just said that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's see. It was not made for human use. Humans are too big and too fragile. And remember, it was the rulers that used it, not the human beings. And the rulers were pretty much descendants of the Anunnaki. They had what they needed to be able to go crystalline. Let's see, what was that?
What?
Beam yourself. I was reading what White Dragon had said. Beam yourself up. Places with your mind. Yeah, I do that all the time. That's how I travel. I just say, I want to go there. Boom. And then I ask for somebody to help me to show me around.
That's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. But the tunnels underneath have nothing to do with the tombs. Nothing whatsoever. They all have to do with the pyramids and what they originally were supposed to do.
Right.
And they also have to do with the comings and goings of aliens on Earth. Sometimes they're just here to visit, to check on something, and then report back. Sometimes they do more than that. I have a feeling, I'm kind of getting that sometimes the biggest ships that come down are there for like rescue missions. They just happen to go land there and then do what they need to do.
Rescue missions of what? For what?
For humans.
Like
kids.
Okay. Trafficking.
Mm-hmm. What they do, that is a very major part. And I also got from them that just like there are all these interdimensional things in Egypt with those pyramids, there are also on a smaller scale, because for most of them, most of the other pyramids that we know of around the world are on a smaller scale. So on the smaller scale, the same type of system is near them, underground.
Okay.
Dimensional.
It's okay.
So
I
everybody,
think the Bosnian pyramids are actually larger than the ones in Egypt.
are they? Well, then they're
I'm
probably
not positive, but the one in Egypt is like the center of the planet.
right.
I mean,
So
that one's like,
that's the main. That's the to me. I'm getting that's the main place. They sent everything out from there, or it was just one of the main hub, and messages went.
I think it was a hub of geomagnetic lines too, ley lines. I think
Yeah.
that was a lot of it was
So
yeah, they were at those pyramids were at ley line intersections.
and I just got that a lot of the highways in the different dimensions are along the ley lines because it makes it easier to have the
To
vibration.
travel.
Yeah.
I've asked her to look at the Black Pyramid in Alaska White Dragon, and
Yeah,
Antarctica was she was rebuffed and told not to come back.
Yeah, and they let me see so much, but then they said, no, this is not someplace you can be.
Was
So
that
they would
human or
get past the
alien?
tables.
Was that human or alien, Heather?
Alien.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I can usually get by humans, but the aliens will tell you, and you just
They know you. They know you're there.
yeah, and they had tables that it was like if you're flying international, there's a whole thing of booths, and you're all in line to go through the booth area with somebody checking on things, customs.
Mm-hmm.
But they have something like that down there, and
are you talking about Antarctica? Or are you back to pyramids?
Antarctica,
Okay.
and they wouldn't let me go through.
Right.
So that's why I said Antarctica won't work for me because I think they won't let me. But as far as under the pyramids, it's so complex. It's so.
Do those tunnels run into any of the tunnels we've heard about in the past towards Agartha, Inner Earth? Are those attached to any Inner Earth tunnels?
Some are, but they're a different dimension. They're in the same area, but they're in a different dimension. Right. So you have to be able to be ethereal to even notice them.
Were you able to go down any of the portals?
All the portals went out to space. I started to think about it, and I'm going, maybe not. It goes out nowhere, and if you don't know where you're going when you're out there, it's like dropping into the ocean with no compass and no nothing. It's just water. Which way is up?
Yeah, I understand. That could be different. Okay, what else did you find under there? Oh, were there lakes? Are there rivers? I mean, actual water under there? Is there rivers or a lake or anything like that under there? Supposedly, there's a huge aquifer under the plateau.
It's all goes back to the Nile, and again, it's like I said, the land has grown up somehow or other. It's not like a river that just runs freely. It's that it's now muddy or sandy, and the water goes straight through all of that because water will go through it. So if they were to dig into it, water would eventually be there because it.
What if they dug it down on the either side of the pyramid? What would they find directly underneath the pyramids? If they started removing sand, Just started like they did
Mhm.
with the Sphinx. What would they find?
They'd find a bigger base, more of the base, and doors,
Doors.
but way down, entrances,
Wow.
but so far down that and they're well hidden. You have to know they're there. So,
Did Ben have any guidance for us? Did he have can you talk to him right now?
yeah, I can talk to him. He's here.
Um does he have any guidance for mankind at this point in time?
Keep ascending.
Keep ascending.
Keep ascending. Don't
Anything
stop.
else? Don't stop.
Keep ascending.
Anybody in the chat have any questions for Heather? Let us know.
So I'm trying to you in the records. Yeah, well, of course that is.
Everything's always being recorded in the records. What else can Ben tell us about the interdimensionals down there? Or is there anything more to be discovered by humans, for humans?
Not until we've gone far enough. We need to keep ascending. When we get far enough, then we will be aware. And once we are aware, then we will know about everything. And everything will come to light, and we'll actually work on getting the pyramids back the way they should be.
Oh,
Back,
wow. Wouldn't that be interesting?
yeah.
I'm
But
sure with that
we
type
need to
of
get there.
technology, it wouldn't take any time at all, would it?
No, no. But we need to, as the earth, we need to ascend, and we need to keep going and bringing our frequency up and going into different dimensions that are higher and higher, so that we can find all these things, that we become aware
Find them
of.
when we reach the vibration appropriate for their use.
Exactly.
That makes
That's why I
sense.
said we're not getting
Sonia,
up.
that's not Ben Franklin. This has been an Anunnaki guide that Heather had
He
throughout
lived in that era. He said he was from when they were building it, and the different things. That's how he could tell me how they moved through. And that for the most part, when they were moving through all these quote tunnels and roadways or whatever that was built, it was because the only way they could do it was because they were ethereal. They could not do it in the human form.
No, that makes perfect sense.
What dimension do we need to reach to see all of what's under the pyramids?
Probably fifth. That would be my guess anyway.
Well, I was thinking about it, and fourth is not good enough and fifth, you might begin to see a little of the fourth dimension in there, but you would not see everything in there until you reach the eighth. Because in order to see everything that's there, since it goes from fourth through seven, you can't just barely get into seven and see it. You need to be through seven. So that's why I said.
And remember, there's always a higher and lower octave of every dimension. Some are vibrating. Even now, I feel like many of us in this community are vibrating in the fourth dimension, going from fourth, third, fourth, and fifth, all in a day's time, maybe in an hour. You know what I mean? But we tend to live in fourth and fifth dimension rather than the third dimension. And now, so remember, there's always that lower fifth, and as you raise your vibration, you get to the higher fifth until you reach the sixth. So you're going up.
You're back and forth between those two for a while.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
And White Dragon is right. It's not just us that needs to ascend. Gaia needs to ascend.
She is ascending.
Yes, she is ascending. And they also said And when you're doing your meditation and you're sending love out to everybody, send it to Gaia.
Absolutely.
Gaia will get absolutely stronger if everybody will send her more love.
Poor mama's not getting enough love. I don't like that. That's why I don't go into Walmart.
Yes, Walmart is 2D and sometimes 3D.
Ugh. I refuse to give them my money.
Yeah.
No way.
The higher up in the ranks of Walmart you go, the lower in dimensional.
Okay, that's right, because 9 beings aren't embodied. 8th is where we have physicality.
Yeah. So in order to see everything,
But even in 8th, you don't have to have physicality. You can or
you
can't.
can be physical, you can be ethereal. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure.
So
Oh, excuse me.
don't do that. It's catchy. You'll have me doing it.
I know. It's the weather.
Yeah.
I'm cold and I'm warm, then I'm cold and I'm warm. It's all right.
That's why I bake. It warms the place up.
Oh, I did bake a new. I got a bread machine, so I baked a loaf of bread today.
I still
it
use
was
the oven,
delicious.
so it heats up the apartment.
I don't have one. I don't have an
That's
oven.
true. You don't have an oven. That's
I
right.
have a toaster oven, and that's it.
Yep.
It's different.
Mm.
Definitely different.
If I didn't have an oven, I couldn't make all the cookies I make.
Sure. You couldn't. Okay, what else have we got? Anything else?
That's pretty much what they told me, and it's not something that mankind is going to see anytime soon.
Not for probably a good 100, 200 years.
Yeah,
Sounds like.
way past my exit point.
Sell by date. Definitely past my sell by date.
Yeah.
Where's the next place you're thinking about having a look?
Oh, well, let me look at the list and see what's there, because I hadn't thought about that yet. I was just busy working on next Tuesdays.
Oh, you know what? I have a question. It just reminded me of Leah. Did they were anything to do with the pyramids healing? Were they used for healing as well?
Well, yeah, because they could generate energy. And that energy was not
so maybe that's
just.
what those big blocks, the sarcophaguses, were healing.
They could very well.
Thingies.
But since they were energy and communication, and energy can be used for healing as well as anything else, yeah, they could be used for healing.
But were they?
Yes.
Okay.
Certain parts of it, not throughout the pyramid, but certain parts of it were set up.
That's really very cool.
Yeah.
As we shift, with those ancients ever return?
Yeah.
They're here. They never left.
That's right.
They're still here.
Just we don't know about it. They may let us see what they actually look like instead of human form, but they're here. And so are many other aliens. Like I said, there are portals throughout there in that area, all the different dimensions. It just depends on what their frequency is to where they are.
It blows my mind. Oh, excuse me. I don't know why I'm yawning. Okay. Well, I guess that was it for that.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that I couldn't, they covered it up so well, covered everything so well that I'm like, okay, let me go back and see if there's anything. Nope, that's all you're going to need. I went, okay.
When it's going to be a couple hundred years, I think anything like that's going to be uncovered. If not,
if you or I actually get to see it, we'll do it after on the other side of the veil.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely be on the other side before it'll be open for us to see.
Yeah.
That's all right. Like I said, we sit there with popcorn and beer, and we'll have a watch.
Let's see if I can find the chromosome list and see what I have there. I have excuse me, so many.
Leah's saying when we're in distress or sad, does our star family know? I'm not sure what that has to do with the pyramids.
Let me see what she said. Yeah, your family knows. There are sometimes I get messages through music and for no reason at all. I mean, if I'm really down, sometimes I'll get even from the mezzo group, they will, it's not the song I planned for them to sing. You know, I click on it and they're singing something else. And I'm going, oh my God, I needed that right now. Yes, they know. And yes, they do something
from our star family. The question is, do they hear?
Do they know? Of course they know.
When we're in distress or sad, does our star family know?
Yeah. And they try to do something about it.
Well, that's cool. I guess because we're all connected, as Sonia says. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to feel my dragons. Are dragons around Egypt as well?
They're all over the earth.
There you go.
Oil Painter and I actually found some in the water in some of the tension, and I'm going, oh wow! And there's I know of at least 2 there. And when I was looking down at other areas, you've got Eastern, like Korea and Japan and China and stuff like that. And then you've got Australia, and there's a great big bunch of water with islands there. And I know I've seen a couple dragons there. And it's so weird to actually see them. I'm going, oh my God, they're sleeping.
There was one that when you were looking at the Bermuda Triangle, you found one
Right.
down there.
And then I found another one looking a little further south and west. So there were 2 there, and they're guarding crystals.
Yeah. And the Mariana Trench, I think you found one. And wasn't there one in South America, in the trench in South America? I thought you found one.
Yeah, you look at the trenches, and sometimes you can actually see with their hind quarters stretched out because they're just flat, and you can actually see their hindquarters spread out and their legs. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I remember seeing the one in, excuse me.
That's the one, yeah, Oil Painter, and she saw it first, but it was really weird. Exactly what they look like. I'm going, and they are, they're here. They're just not ready to show. They're in a different dimension sometimes if they come out and decide they want to fly or something. It's a different dimension. We can't notice them, but they're here.
But when we're in the etheric, we're riding them.
Yeah, that's right. We ride them. We actually know ours, and we know what they look like.
We can either be our dragon with our dragon, or we can ride them.
Right. And when we ride them, we're still connected to our telepathy.
Yes.
So even if we're acting as the dragon or acting as the rider, or both.
Symbiotic.
Yeah, it's symbiotic. But we can be fractals of ourselves, being the rider and it's just what we want to concentrate on.
Down that rabbit hole. Oh God.
You're still a barrel rider. Well, okay. In or out of it. True. Have you ever been over there in Niagara Falls? To me, that's a barrel rider.
I'm thinking more a barrel rider with a horse.
Yeah, either that or one of those set on elastic cords that you ride like you would a bull.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't do that either.
Well, when we had the Gypsy Cob Society, we had a horse show at the Fort Worth Fat Stock Show and Rodeo. And with some of the girls in California, we went to the Cowgirl Museum and rode the Bronco. So I have ridden a bucking bronco. Well, I've ridden a few, but that one was not real.
And Leah, you said like a live smog won a dragon for real. And the first thing that came to my head is you've got one.
Yeah.
You have one. It's just not where you can see it with your human. It's when you go out of body at night when you're sleeping or something, you can.
Yeah. For
But
sure.
you have one.
That's so fun. Well, it's time to go. We will have any last thoughts?
It was very, very interesting. And it is so full down there with all the different dimensions that everything is in. And I understand why he said I can't give you a map. I understand that. I really do.
I think it was great that you asked for it, though.
Point. Well, I won't need one. You don't need a map. You just follow the frequencies and you don't need a map.
Easy for you to say. Well, thanks, Heather. That was really fascinating. I'm just always amazed at what you're.
I'm amazed at what I come up with. I said, okay, and then I write it down. I said, more, write it down. I don't believe it. Yes, I do. I believe this, but wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could visualize it myself. I think that would really be fascinating.
I just keep seeing this picture of this huge hangar.
Yeah.
And everything, and all the portals that are, it's like you never know when they're going to be coming in from different. Wow.
That's wild.
It is. It is.
Grand Central Station, Egypt.
Exactly.
That is so cool.
It is. It is.
Well, thanks again for doing that. Will just love your remote views. They're fascinating.
Well, actually,
everybody, thanks for being here tonight to watch this.
Yes, thank you all.
We really appreciate that. Please go out and send Mother Gaia lots and lots of love. Send Washington, D.C. and all the world agencies lots and lots of love, unconditional love, unity consciousness, and courage.
Yes.
It's time for courage for all of us. Step up for what's right in this planet. We love you all. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back on Saturday with the lovely Valerie B from Illumination Portal to talk about the full moon on the 13th, I believe it is. And until then, have a great rest of your week. And we will see you on Saturday.
And stay warm.
Stay warm because it's chilly here.
Yes.
It's definitely chilly. Bye all. Love you. Thanks again for joining us. Take care.